Hello, I'm Jeff Mack from Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, and I'm pleased to welcome Ron Rock. Ron is the founder and CEO of a company called Pointio. Pointio is headquartered here in Philadelphia. Welcome, Ron.
Thank you, Jeff. I've spent most of my life in enterprise sales dealing with some of the biggest companies in the world, American Express, GE, HSBC, all in the business process management space, heavy infrastructure type of applications. As I was looking for the next new thing to do, I thought about the impact of cloud and mobile on enterprise. Cloud and mobile for consumer is easy. You didn't have anything existing, so for me to build the next Twitter, build the next Facebook, I didn't have any legacy information I needed to worry about. The enterprise is in a very different place. We've proactively been locking everything down for the last 30 years. And literally overnight, these large companies are being asked to take the mainframe, move it out to the cloud. Take the coax cable, and it's become wireless. And the device that I consume my information on is whatever we get for Christmas. We come into work on January 2nd and say, I want to do my work on this device. That's a real challenge for enterprises. They have to worry about compliance and audit, regulations like HIPAA. And so I wanted to work in a company that focused on the intersection of enterprise, cloud, and mobile. And that's really how we ended up with Pointio. So in selling my company Knowledge Rules to Accenture, that was a great ride. I started Knowledge Rules in 2003. I grew that company globally. We ended up with offices in Sofia, Bulgaria, Madrid, Paris, London, Hyderabad, India, and it was a company focusing on business process management, helping big companies like American Express and GE automate complex back-end systems for call center. We built the airline dispute system for American Express, for example. I ultimately sold that company to Accenture in 2010. That was primarily a people business. My assets walked out the door every day. It was lots of very smart, very expensive people, which made that business difficult to scale. So one of the lessons I learned is that if I wanted to have a significant impact, that I needed to think more about a product company. And so as we thought about solving that problem for enterprise, cloud, and mobile, we wanted to build a product company that could scale and impact a lot more clients. So our pedigree, as we talked about, when you think about scalability, it matters in the large enterprise. And again, we're focusing on building apps for work, not consumer apps. Apps for work, companies like JP Chase, American Express, tens of millions of users, tens of millions of concurrent users, security, compliance, scalability, resiliency, multi-tenant, all of these things matter. As a team, our pedigree, that's the world that we come from. So we've built this platform really with best practices of what we've learned over the last 20 years. And companies don't buy us because of that, but as soon as somebody looks under the covers and says, am I going to let Pointio come into my enterprise, that's where we pass all of the tests. It is a strategic differentiator for us because most of the high-tech startups today are run by millennials exclusively without that experience, and they really don't understand security and scalability to the level that the large players get it. I've got a great team. I've been with many of the same team for a long time. So my primary partner is Tim Panagas. Tim's an MIT guy. Used to work for one of the largest BPM companies in the world. He was instrumental in building out that core system in the late 90s. That's where he and I met. He then became my CTO at Knowledge Rules. Once we sold to Accenture, he was the global CTO for Accenture for their BPM practice. He had an earnout for 3 years and a day. He left and joined me back at Pointio. I've got another partner over in Europe, Charles Pomal. Again, Charles has been working for me since 1999. And Charles heads up my BPM practice at Knowledge Rules and now Pointio for all of Europe. He's a Frenchman who married an Irish woman living in the UK, and he's also fluent in German. So he's just that jack of all trades. And then I've got Tom Jackson, my CFO. Tom was my boss in 1985 at Computerland here at 19th and Market. He then was my boss again in the mid-90s at Advanta, one of the largest credit card issuers in America, and one of the biggest companies in Philadelphia in the 90s. And so he's my CFO and business development guy. And then finally, I've got Dave Koopman. Dave Koopman was my sales guy at Knowledge Rules, worked with me at Pegasystems as well, and now runs our sales at Pointio. The collection of that team, I often talk to a lot of young people as they're asking me about entrepreneurship, how do you start a company? And I've even posted this in our blog. You start with a team, and a good idea helps. And I think that the fact that the team's been together as long as it has substantiates that. Talking about my board of directors, I've got a great board. 3 strategic outside board members. First one is Mike Sanchez. He was the founder of Sanchez Computing, a big Philadelphia success story, also a big Safeguard Scientific success story. Mike now has a company called Savannah in the Philly suburbs, building BPM banking mortgage software. So Mike's done it before, built large companies from scratch, and a great addition. Secondly, I've got Tim Wallace. Tim Wallace is the CEO of iPipeline. iPipeline recently just went through a significant acquisition, monetizing event. They are in the insurance software as a service business. Tim is a visionary guy that took this company from virtually an early startup to a market cap in the 9-figure range. Again, a guy that's built that kind of technology, knows how to scale it. And then my third independent board member is a gentleman named Scott Smith. He's an investment banker out of San Francisco. He's the owner and founder of Viant Capital. Scott literally knows everybody. He was part of many of the early IPOs in the .com. He's been running in the circles of Cisco, Federal Express, those types of clients. So Scott is really everything as we think about the strategic financing, the strategic relationships, and what we might end up doing with Pointio at some point. Then in addition on the board is myself and then Andrew Schwab. And Andrew was part of one of the technology companies that we started with as one of the core components of our platform that we talk about. And Andrew brings representation for the original shareholders as well as some thought leadership around some of the connection capabilities that he was working on.